I left home when I was 7 years old. I I remember it. Somebody's here. Brian's here. I'm gonna let Brian in. I'm letting Brian in.
Yay, my video works. Sweet.
Yeah, me too. I'm telling a story, but I'll be quick because now you're here. Um, so I found this old suitcase in the closet that my dad had, and I packed a bunch of shit in it, and I took off. And I was 7, and I was wearing my pajamas, and I don't remember if I put the snowsuit on over it or not. It may have been just a jacket. And my mom said, "Larry, where are you going?" And I said, "Anywhere but here." And I left. And I got as far as the corner, I think, because it's January in Chicago and it used to snow a lot. And then I came back. And what this story is about is getting to a point of arrival after a long journey of becoming. And that is what happened to me. And that is my story. And there's no point in telling the whole thing right now. But being at the point where there is a knowing it's right and it's finished after a really long journey is exciting. And it's an experiment that I began 5 years ago. And I think of it as the entrepreneur experiment after a lifetime of finding my own way, not having to work in a hierarchy and not having to take money from other people that I don't want to be with. It's about my relationship with the world and myself primarily. So we're going to talk about how to use the keys on the Entrepreneur Experience campus. Brian, you have a similar story, and I think that's why you're co-founders now.
Yes. I had a wonderful experience this morning in the Invincibility Dojo. And the decision to be home has been a big one for me in the last 30 days. I have felt like a man without a home for since 2006. Owned a home. Never felt home. And deciding that I've arrived. Like the only person that can give me permission for that is me.
Yeah.
It's not my dad. It's not you. It's not my partner. And just to claim it. Claim the gift. That's where my head's at right now, in claiming a better experience and knowing.
And the way I think about it is this last year, my key word I have a word for each year. And last year was arrival. So the year was about arrival, not making money. It was about arrival. The year before was quality, which was making a quality product, best in the world. So a year of quality and then a year of arrival to be ready. And then before that, the word I would pick would be experiment. Mm-hmm. And then I put that into quite a few years. experiment years, 5 years at least, 3 years at least, a year of quality, and then a year of arrival. And I'm looking at this year, January 16th, and my word for this year is liberation. Now that impacts other people.
My word this year, Larry, is flourishing.
Flourishing. Nice.
I went really far down the stoic rabbit hole of how can I make this harder and more impossible?
Yeah.
And, it was fun and useful until it wasn't.
Right. The stoic.
I got really good at that game.
Yeah, I know. The stoic rabbit hole. Sometimes being your opposite is being yourself. You like that?
Oh, it tickles my brain in a weird way.
Yeah. So Louisa and I were talking yesterday, and what I learned from Louisa and also Wendy, when I did the relationship clarity session with her, and then I did money clarity with Louisa and got deeper into some stuff with Louisa, was I learned from Louisa, lighten up.
Yeah.
Make it fun. It doesn't have to be hard. And but I want it to be hard. Well, it can be hard. You can go for hard. It's about what is my relationship with struggle, doing hard things every day, living on the razor's edge. My relationship with that can include having a good relationship with my wife, spouse, or partner, depending on what generation you're in, um, and not having to crush myself all the time, which is my natural tendency.
And why? So I look at you and your offshore sailing stuff. Like that's the original extreme sport. You know, before mountaineering, before squirrel shooting, before all this crazy stuff that Red Bull has engineered, it was sailing a boat, harnessing the power of the wind, and taking on Mother Ocean.
Yeah.
She doesn't give a shit. You know, you think you're a skilled sailor? We'll find out. You know, and so you trained for that. You trained for that razor's edge, and
Yeah.
for me, you know, it's combat.
Mhm.
It's unforgiving. Like I either did the work or I'm found wanting,
And you get blown up.
and I don't live in that world anymore, right? So if I live in the dangerous ocean, dangerous battlefield, like my whole body codes genetic expression for that world of struggle and warfare and those things.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people that live in love and abundance, and like, I don't know, that sounds weird, but I want to try it. You know, what's the delicious food like? What's optimal training like instead of like maximum sufferfest way of training?
Yeah.
Both work.
I think I had such a rejection of it because of the YouTube version of it. So seeing the manifestation crowd and the spiritual elevation folks and all that stuff they were talking about, in my own experience of those kinds of things, did not connect. It did not connect. And I thought, I don't want that. I don't want that. And finding my own way through it ended up being, the answer to it, because eventually we all have to arrive, I think, at a more of a state of ease, flow, whatever you want to call those words. You don't have to learn how to manifest anything. We already know how. Every human being does. But Louisa said it really well yesterday. She said, you can either make it really hard on yourself or not, but you're going to do exactly the same thing anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's it.
Yeah, I think about the workload is the same. Am I whistling or am I grinding my teeth?
Yes, exactly. I grind my teeth a lot, but I'm stopped. I don't want to anymore.
This is a little crude, right? There's two types of people. The people that laugh at farts and everybody else. The farts happen. So who do you want to be? You want to be laughing? I do.
So I'm old, so my analogies and references don't always catch up, even though I'm on top of new shit. But did you ever see Parenthood with Steve Martin?
No, I did not.
Of course not, because you're younger than me. But it's a great movie, and there's a roller coaster scene where he's worried about his kids all the time, and it's a projection of himself and his own inadequacy, of course. And of course, it's a great movie because it's Steve Martin and there's great people in it. It's a good story. It's all right on. So there is a scene where the kindergarten kid's screwing up the play, and it's his kid.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's in it's a bunch of rich people, so they're uptight. And half of the audience at the kindergarten play is like, oh no, he's ruining the play. And Steve starts getting nervous, and he looks over and his wife is laughing her ass off. And then the grandma's laughing her ass off. And they had an incredible vehicle of a roller coaster feeling, mm-hmm. where they roller coastered the room, and he's there, and all of a sudden he relaxed. And then he remembered the grandma saying, I love roller coasters. And all of a sudden he let it go. Mm. And then the whole thing fell apart. Like the stage set, and it was his kid's fault. And everyone started laughing. And I'm like, that's it.
Wow. I'm reminded of the Robert Grant quote, the path to suffering is taking what the gods had intended to be fun as serious.
That's exactly right.
There's just so much ridiculousness.
It's so funny. Yeah.
I had an experience with my dad over the weekend. And he told me that I was praying the rosary wrong. You know, studied some Buddhism.
Well, you're going all in, aren't you now?
Oh, I am.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's
Love
like, for him, there is one way. It's the
Mhm.
Catholic way.
Mhm.
I respect that. I don't think it's the only way.
Yeah.
Might be a couple more ways to get, not even get there, like to be here now, you know? But it was like a tree fort. Like, if you're going to be in this tree fort, here's the rules.
Yeah.
Isn't the
True
tree
fort.
fort made out of God, though?
Mhm.
It's just the separation. Again,
Mhm.
back to the same idea. Like, it can be really hard. Like, you're wrong, I'm right. I'm going to convince you that this is the way to do it.
Mhm.
The more I force and the louder I become, the less influential I am.
Yeah. Well, and then the flip side of it is my house, my rules. So if I want to live in a hierarchy, then I either can be full Wicked Witch of the West and do my own dance with everybody laughing at me or throwing shit or burning me at the stake or whatever they're going to do, or just say, I'm good and leave. And that's the choice. And I think with the entrepreneur experience idea, so much of what we're doing is the antidote to the entrepreneur belief system in Silicon Valley. And I look at the Elon Musk way, the Mark Andreessen way, the Brian Chesky way, and all of those people with the billions and billions and billions, Larry Ellison and Mark Zuckerberg, and really all of them, is that way won't work for me.
Mm.
It won't work. And it worked for them, sort of. I don't know, but I'm not living in that house. And
Right.
the thing is, the line for me to straddle on this razor's edge idea is respect for them. It's their house. I don't have to live in it. And when I started calling, I started thinking, what am I doing here? And I was like, okay, I'm going to call this flexible founders mode, because they're calling what they do founders mode. I think of it as technology corporate founders mode, which is better than listening to consultants from business schools.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're saying is, screw these consultants and best practices. And I'm like, you're right. That's right. But let's do corporate entrepreneur founders mode, which includes going to the fancy school or being a really big analytic brain and knowing how to do software and technology. And that's part of their recipe.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm out. It's not bad or good. It's that won't work for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. The decision. What game do I want to play? Where do I put my attention? What story
Yeah.
am I telling myself in relation to the games that are being played, and realizing they made it up.
They did.
They made up the game.
They did. Yeah.
What if I did?
Yes.
What if I made up my own game, Larry? Made up my own rules and then decided to thrive because it's fun.
That's why I left when I was 7, because I didn't like the game and the family. The family was believe this, do it like this, and my answer was no. No, I'm going to do it a different way.
Oh man, I subjugated myself to the whole thing.
Yeah, I couldn't do that in my family. I separated myself from my family from a very young age. I started working. And then middle school and into high school, I got a job as a dishwasher, busboy. I worked at Kmart. I worked at McDonald's. I worked at Jewel, bagging groceries. I was in the grocery union. Like, I made my own money. And I'm not saying I grew up poor, so I'm thinking, like on the street. No, those middle class Deerfield, Illinois, north of Chicago, before Deerfield became like more like Highland Park, But I went my own way, and my whole family went to vacation in California. I was 16. I was like, I can't go. I got a shift. I'm working. I was working at Jewel, or maybe 17. I don't remember. Yeah, 16
Yeah.
probably. But I had to separate myself from my family to find my own way. Nothing wrong with that. It worked for me.
I was just pondering that the other day. I was thinking about our buddy Alex Hermosi, his tumultuous relationship with his father. Like, what an archangel his dad was to like incite the riot inside of Alex, right? Like,
Yeah.
that will show you,
Right.
I don't want that relationship with my dad, although I am carefully curating where do I spend my time, where do I spend my energy, and asking this question for the first time in my 41 laps around the earth. What's my relationship with my family supposed to be now?
Yeah.
Because I come from a world, I have two uncles. One uncle's very prosperous, and the other uncle has been divorced a few times. It's his favorite hobby.
Yeah.
And the divorced uncle likes blaming the rich uncle for shitty financial advice.
Interesting.
It's interesting. And so
Yeah.
I told my dad, I don't want to be around victim uncle. I like being around prosperous uncle. He goes, you don't get to choose that. I said, what?
You
He
don't
said,
get to choose that. My house,
"No,
my
it's your
rules.
family. You have to. You have to spend time together." Oh, okay. Interesting.
So it's sort of the opposite of me in so many ways. But it's interesting how it's the same in terms of the principles of finding yourself, making your own decisions, and living on your own terms. So we all have our own shit to work out, right? So I want to get into how to use the keys on the Entrepreneur Experience Campus, because this week was about keys, and we're going to talk about keys in terms of political market environments tomorrow. But imagine this, folks at home, a team of 12 experts, and I'm going to read my thing now so I don't get off track, working on your behalf in all aspects of the business, from finance, technology, legal, marketing, social media, business structure, and sales. Best in the world. Not the most famous in the world. Best at what they do in terms of knowing how to help you find your own way into it without any advice from them. In other words, their relationship to the thing is not going to be the same as your relationship to branding, marketing, business structure, sales, social media, legal, technology, blah, 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 blah. We got that. Now add on something else, the domains of mindset, energy, and prosperity coaching without somebody that is telling you how to do it, but more doing it with you, helping you figure out what works for you. We have got that today. It's hard for me to imagine not getting a real result during this 7-day guest pass period. And I can't imagine any reason why someone wouldn't end up joining the groups. But if you have one, that's fine too. There's no cash register at the end of this funnel, although I will make a shit ton of money, and so will Brian. And so will you if you don't have any, because we have those alternatives. And if you have money and you want to pay, that's fine as well. That's it.
I had a realization today in the dojo. So every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern until 10 o'clock now, realizing just really how important the war helmet tilt, courage over ability. Ability is important. You gotta have that.
Okay. Now okay. War helmet tilt. I know what you mean. Okay. Now explain what a war helmet tilt is.
Yeah. So story today was going through a breakdown, life reset. The war helmet tilt is not being open to people's opinions that haven't done this before.
Right.
A particular posture, making myself a hard target, borrowing from my force protection career in the Navy. The posture of someone on the subway dictates whether they will be attacked or not.
Mm-hmm.
If I have soft body language and look like a victim, I'm now a victim.
Mm.
If I take up more space and I'm confident, I'm now a problem. So that's what I'm saying with war helmet tilt. This is a threat. I'm prepared for it. And if I have a plan for it, generally I don't need the emergency procedure because I'm already prepared.
So from the military standpoint, what you're talking about is being prepared for attack, being prepared to advance when necessary.
Yes.
So it's, in other words, it's being prepared. So the way I think of that is razor's edge life. So as an entrepreneur, it's being in the market, noticing, paying attention, adjusting when necessary, and calibrating or recalibrating immediately when a new opportunity comes. Well, we're talking about the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If the war helmet's tilted too far because you're ready for battle, you miss everything. That's focus, too much focus.
Yes, the whole world is a threat now instead of like, hey, can I help you with that? Why? You don't think it's good enough?
Right.
No, I love you. Like, easy, bro.
Yeah. Right. That's the head down, kick ass, take no prisoners, never succeed at the end, even no matter how much money you get way. That's a way.
That's
You can
a
do
way.
it that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I interrupted you. Now did
Now I
you
don't
lose
remember
your
what I
train of
said.
thought? Or yeah, I know you don't. Sorry.
Well,
I want the war helmet. The war helmet tilt is shorthand, and I wanted people to understand it because it's one of the most important concepts. So think of the concept of balancing, right?
yes.
Balancing. That's what you're talking about. So you
We're
were
talking about
talking about,
balancing, and what we're little tiny incremental 1 or 2. If there's a scale of 1 to 10 on the life mixer board, maybe today I want to go from a 4 to a 6. Turn that up a little bit.
you want to talk more about that? Because 4 to 6 is a big difference.
It is.
And how do you help and how do other people? So now what we're talking about is energy.
Oh.
Ryan's talking about energy balancing, correct?
I am. The energy balancing is another arrow to get to what I actually want to talk about.
Okay.
Which is the pearl inside of the oyster.
Okay.
Your pearl of genius, prosperity, all of that stuff. What I realized today is I don't need to be the best in the world at energy. I'm not the best breath instructor either.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm really fucking good at? Helping your genius come out, especially when shit is hitting the fan.
Yes.
I'm really good at that.
Yes, you are.
That's my job, is to help these people remember that they already have the answers. They knew it when they were 5.
Yeah.
And so that's a very different posture than how most energy breath people do it. It's like, this is the way, do it this way. And it's like, you could.
I can't do that.
You could do it that way.
I don't
This is
want
an
to.
example as a way to find the way that you actually love doing this.
So I'm going to read my third line here. Liberation mechanics, which is what we're talking about. Create products, win in the market, and love life when all the necessary pieces, parts, and components come together on your own terms rather than through coaching. We don't coach, but instead offer you access to our minds, hearts, and energy as you claim a seat at the table within the group as an equal.
Mm-hmm.
Equal. Not a fan, follower, or member of the audience. There is no fans, followers, or members of the audience, never will be, and there will never be a private, secret, inner sanctum mastermind room only for the cool kids or those who can pay. It's not going to happen. Never. Never going to happen. So that's what you're talking about from my perspective.
It is. Yeah, it's an actual mastermind.
They don't know what a mastermind is sometimes, I think. The people who are running masterminds and talking about mastermind, they don't even know what it is.
Yeah, the idea of having a shared desire. And so what I experienced today was creating a container. And then I became the student. Like Mark today was on fire. And he was explaining things around gratitude. And going for a feather quest when he was going through one of his hardest life resets. And it got him moving. And it got him looking for things outside of his head. And
what's a feather quest? Is that like a shamanic kind of protocol?
No. Or it's like going outside and looking for feathers. That was the exercise. Chocolate, carry water.
That's not cool enough for CEOs. I don't think it would sell.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Who cares?
I know they
it's
need
like
an ayahuasca weekend with a lot of ceremony.
We were also talking about the meditation that happens while washing dishes.
Yeah.
In the mundane.
Yes.
The life picking out mushrooms, right, Larry?
The meditation happens with washing dishes is interesting because I just refuse to accept that. And now is I've been able to slow time down a lot. And that's part of like from the work that we did, or I did. You were in the room with Judy Kane. So the head trash stuff, we're talking about slowing down time. And I felt like I don't have time for all this home stuff. It's overwhelming me. I've got work to do, real work to do. And I was thinking about Ayn Rand's book, in that character from the Henry Reardon from the Metals Company, who does not want to go to his wife's party that he's known about for 3 months. And I'm like, God damn it, why do I have to do all this shit around the house? And it was hilarious for me just like thinking about myself. And I was like, oh, this is this. And when I slowed down.
Yeah.
And I started focusing on, oh my God, it's been 6 months. Why is this thing all screwed up over here with mold on it? And I'm like, I'm going to focus on that and clean off the mold. And then I look and I was like, it's like, oh my God, it's 2:00. I got 3 hours to write something or do work stuff.
Right.
And I felt great.
I had an experience yesterday where I only put 6 hours in yesterday. A nice nap, workout.
Yeah.
And it was enough. It was enough. It was the first time that I did like optimal, not maximal. And it was great.
I spent 3 hours yesterday driving around in my car talking to myself. And I'm thinking, what am I doing today? And the answer was, I wanted to work through some thoughts about communication.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I want to communicate, moving past the Wicked Witch of the West stuff and more heart-centered way? What are the stories? And all these stories from my past came up I didn't even know about. And then I drove into Chicago and I found a little stationery store because I'm really into this idea of high quality products winning in the market, winning. Not just like, so this guy's got this little stationery store. He's got this cool Japanese like stationery stuff.
Nice.
And I bought it. And then he's showing me how pens work. I'm having such a good time. So he's like, well, what kind of pen do you like? And I said, I hate all of them. They all suck. And he said, all right. He's got this massive array of pen. And he knows how they work. So he's like, do you like a 0.7? And I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is. I'm like, oh, they have numbers on them. That's right. I said, oh, it's because they're 0.5. I hate 0.5. And then this one smears. It's like, yeah, you're left. That's what I wanted to do. Be bizarre. Now people think, oh, because you're rich, right? No. I mean, I got money, but it's that's not the point. And it's not like I got 100 million sitting there where I can just screw around and do whatever I want. No, not at all.
I want to share with you my magic wand. It's right here.
Yeah.
This is like a EMR pencil for my Remarkable tablet. Yesterday, it didn't work. Like the tip wears down after a while. And so it was like intermittently writing. Like worst pen experience I've ever had in that. And I got the new tips and they didn't work because I actually needed a new pencil. And it's such a joy today to be writing in my thinking system with the Remarkable in calligraphy. Like I love writing in calligraphy, like the structured ideas, but made beautifully.
It's I was at a men living group last night and I kind of faded out of the group for a while because I had so much trouble when people were projecting onto me advice because I was saying things that was weird to other people. So that triggers people and they project onto me. So I'm like, I can't go to this anymore. And I love these guys, men, not guys, men, they're men. And they're doing a big weekend and I can't go because I put my family first and I want to go. So I went to the group yesterday. They're on the weekend now, Thursday through Monday or Sunday. I want to be there. Mm-hmm. I'm not there. I'm here. And I was in the room and I felt very connected to everyone in the room. And I thought that is a feeling of knowing and being there and being able to be part of the group as opposed to Elphaba.
Yes.
In the Western Sky. And coming back from the Western Sky life for 2 years, it's like it worked.
There's something really exquisite about feeling connected to other men. First, most men don't feel safe to do that.
Yeah.
Also, most men make zero friends after college.
One guy talked about that. He's like, he said, he was sitting next to him and I was like, what's going on with you? We did a routine run thing. And he just started doing this kind of work. And I'm like, I've been doing this forever. I was thinking, but I didn't go there with that thought. It was like I was right where he was. And he said, I reconnected with this man I went to college with. He said guy, I'm saying man, I went to college with, and now we're friends again. And I was afraid to do it.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be afraid to do that because I'm in my 50s. So he's got the shoulds and I'm like, but he's going to get through this because he's sitting there doing that work.
That's my point with the connected men's work. Women do this like automatically.
They just do it naturally. They don't have to
They've been
work
doing it since they were 4. We were like eating
Right.
dirt and breaking shit.
That's right.
We get to learn this until like
They don't need to do
40.
this stuff. They're already done.
But that ability to be connected and to play the authenticity sovereignty game in the sandbox and then eventually getting that out in the world is so, I don't know another way to do it.
I've been doing it for so long that it's just natural for me now. And I look back at it and I'm like, thank God my mentor, Jed, was like, you need to go to this fucking weekend, you idiot.
Yes.
That's how he liked to talk to me. And I like mentors, not coaches.
Yeah.
All right. So we're done. Today we talk about the keys and how to use them on the Entrepreneur Experience Campus. Tomorrow, learn more about how to use the keys to unlock the doors in a tough political market. We're finishing up our tech integration, so we can't do a lot of people coming. So if you want to come directly, reach out to me or Brian, but go to the events page and you can see what's available is the base product, and we're going to be adding on to that more and more over the next few weeks. Thanks, Brian.